Welcome back, everyone, to Open Line. Talking politics tonight. A very important race is underway in Virginia. The polls have closed in Virginia. They are electing a governor. It's very close there right now, and a lot of eyes are on the state of Virginia. Will the Republican or the Democrat win in that state? What does that mean nationally? Happy to have with us political science professor Dr. Thomas Schwartz from Vanderbilt, and several calls. So let's just go to the phones now, start taking calls. Let's go to Joey. Hello, Joey.
Yes, hey, how y'all doing?
Doing
well.
I
was wondering, what's holding up making marijuana legal in Tennessee? The people seem to want it, but the politicians don't care what we want. That's the impression I get.
All right, interesting. Marijuana legalization. Certainly we've had several shows on this, and there is some support for certainly the medical marijuana, but that hasn't happened. We're seeing it in other states. I don't know, Dr. Schwartz, how much you can talk about maybe what we're seeing nationally or what's going on here, but I mean, it's not happening so far in Tennessee.
No, and I guess we should expect the resistance. I mean, look, Tennessee has many dry counties for alcohol, or had many dry counties for alcohol. This is not, there is a resistance to this type of change, but I mean, the trend nationally is toward liberalization and legalization that in some ways, I think the Biden administration, if it wanted to, could probably press this harder on the federal level, since the hodgepodge of laws now that exist around the country is so confusing that it's creating a lot of problems. So, yes, I think public opinion has trended very much toward legalization.
No doubt. All right, let's go to Joy. Hello, Joy.
Hi, Mr. Hall. I watch your show. I enjoy it.
Well, thank you.
I have a statement. I just wish Democrats and Republicans both would be more respectful to one another. I think there's hate speech on both sides. If one doesn't agree with the opinion, that's just hateful speech or hate speech, and then the other side does the same thing. I hear it from both sides. I grew up with one parent a Democrat, one parent a Republican. And, I watch Ellen DeGeneres' show, and she's always saying, be kind and good and send the love back. And it inspired me to write a poem. And I'm guilty, of, having real strong political opinions and getting diarrhea of the mouth myself. But I'm not a senator, or I'm not the president, or I'm not in public office. But if you don't mind, I would like to just read this little poem for people to think about it.
Sure.
Okay? Okay, I first wrote two short poems, and then I put them together and just called it Neighborhoods. Why are people different than me? God created us to be many colors that you see. Everyone's special, just like me. Some straight, others gay. God created us that way. There is no measuring rod. We are just children of God. You're part of God's family tree, just like me. You are beautiful in love that comes from God above. Always be kind and good. Enjoy God's neighborhood. Why are people different than me? America was created to be Democrats and Republicans that you see. Everyone with opinions, just like me. Some are bad, some are good, some affect our neighborhoods. Do not let politics ruin your day. We have always been this way. We are all part of the political tree. Try to get along with people like me.
Wow.
We are all Americans and love that comes from God above. Always be kind and good. Enjoy America's neighborhoods. It's just that I have...
That was very good. Joy, that was very good.
Well, thank you.
All right,
I have real strong opinions, but I just want, America needs to come together and show respect for one another and respect for each other's opinions.
Well, Joy, thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, Joy. Look at that. We had a poetry reading. That is the first ever poetry reading on the show. Joy, thank you very much. And so she's saying a couple things. It's always been this way, but she's also just so frustrated by it that she's written a poem, which I really appreciate, and she has strong opinions too herself. So I always ask you this: are we more divided now than we have been? And I'm always interested in your answer. So I ask you that in light of that nice poem from Joy, where are we as far as just how divided we are as a country right now?
Well, I do think people shouldn't underestimate the divisions of the past. We do have a tendency to envelop the past in sort of this misty nostalgia for when we all got along and when we were all in good heart, good gracious, in all of each other's good graces. I mean, I teach a course on the Vietnam War, so I focus, and I'm teaching it right now, and talking about the polarization of the 60s, the assassinations, the riots, that it just reminds me that we've had very bad times in this country at various other times too. And I guess I feel like we do go that history in certain respects is more cyclical than it is in any sort of straight line in any direction, one way or the other. And that we are at this time, I would say that we are pretty divided on a lot of issues. I think we have been more divided in the past, but that's not a comfort, because some of the divisions I'm thinking about are things like the Civil War, or the intensity of the civil rights and anti-war period in our country, where things were really quite tense between people. So I'm more of an optimist on this. I think we go through cycles of division and somewhat less polarized, but there's no question we're very divided right now.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. And Joy, thank you for that poem. Let's go to another caller here. Dear Heart, I believe. Hello?
Yes, I have a comment and I have a question regarding. That was a good poem, by the way. I enjoyed that.
That was nice.
Good saying by that nice lady. What my question is, past when the former president Trump was in office, he gave his check to the national parks, and I thought that was a good thing. He deserved doing that. Now, where President Biden will do anything like that, because he made promises and he was talking about stimulus packages, and certain people got them. And I was wanting to know your opinion on if everyone that deserves them should get them, because a lot of times a lot of people didn't get them, and I'll hang up and listen. Thank you.
All right, I feel like there are two things there. He's talking about the stimulus checks. Will people keep getting that? And that's a policy thing. Then he's talking about Trump gave his paycheck to the national parks. He didn't take a paycheck as president. He's obviously wealthy. He didn't take a paycheck. He wondered if Biden is taking a paycheck and if Biden would donate his check. I haven't heard that Biden's donating his check.
No.
I don't think Biden would say he's as wealthy as Donald Trump. I don't know about that. I don't know.
No, and he's not. He's not. But,
so okay, so there you go on that. And then so then the other is the checks that people have been getting.
Right.
That's a fascinating sort of debate too. Those are gonna stop. I think there are some that want to continue it. There's some that think it's taking us down a road towards socialism and all of that.
Yeah.
What about that debate, where we are and where that may be going?
Well, the interesting thing is, of course, the child care provisions. Some of the child tax credit and the others are really given a lot of credit for reducing child poverty, and that is part of the Democrats' package. So that there will be continuing attempts to get at child poverty through subsidies and checks and other financial incentives. But the across-the-board stimulus is probably that's going away for now, because the economy is coming back, and the need for an across-the-board stimulus like the sort we had is considerably less. But certainly the Democrats feel like the efforts to eliminate child poverty, or the efforts that were involved with those checks, the child tax credit, were effective, and that they should continue.
How much do you think the shortage of workers is related to these stimulus checks?
Oh, that's a $64,000 question, and
I wonder.
mean, it's the argument which you do hear that if you pay people to stay home, they'll stay home. There are disputes over this. There is a lot of friction on this. Democrats don't see it that way. They think people have made choices that they're frustrated with low-wage jobs. They're not going to take them, that they've given them in a way more choice, and that employers need to pay better. And Republicans feel differently on that, feel like if you give people that much money, they're not going to work, and you need those incentives to get people back to work. I think it probably has played a role in giving people more security to quit jobs and that they don't like, and some level of financial support then that allows them to do that. I'm not so sure that it's the key here. I think one of the things going on is the departure of many women from the labor force that had to do as much with the pandemic and what happened in schools and the need for childcare. And that has had an impact, I certainly think, on the labor supply.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a really good point. All right, I'm gonna take Reverend Fuzz. Reverend Fuzz is here. Always great to hear from Reverend Fuzz. Hello, Reverend Fuzz.
Hey, Ben, Dr. Schwartz, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
To Dr. Schwartz. And I want you to answer for me this. What do you see as the number one issue concern in our nation right now? And what would you do to solve that? I mean, you're talking about what problems are, but what would you do to solve, let's say, the race problem? What would you do to solve that?
Wow, that's a hard question. Okay, the number one concern, and how would you solve it?
Solve it. Yeah, you're an educated man, I would think.
That's tough. Okay, all right, Reverend Fuzz, thank you.
Okay.
Do you want to go to a break and think about it, Dr. Schwartz, or what?
That would be fine. Yeah.
Okay, why don't we do that? So, Reverend Fuzz, we're going to go to a break, and it's an interesting question, and others can kind of chime in as well. Number one problem, and how do we solve it? Maybe we can look back at history, how it's been approached throughout history, whatever the case may be. We'll take a break. Be back right after this.